Hello everyone, Max Morning, Max Morning. Hope you're good. Hope you're having a very good day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where and when you are watching this. So gradually we're getting to the halfway mark of this run. It's been loaded, but I do hope you're getting a lot of value from all the training so far. I hope you've been applying as much as possible. Maybe not every single thing, but I do hope you've been implementing, because these are very effective strategies that people have taken the time to teach us and we are sharing with you. Right, so right now we are on day 44 of the 90. And it's a good, another good lesson, and it's going to be a quick one. It's basically talking about how you can actually pivot between live events and tools. So we know there are different ways of exposing your prospects to the opportunity. So you have live events, things like destination events, physical events, maybe at offices, BOMs, or maybe like a product launch, like the way Max Beauty is being launched in Nigeria over the weekend, and all sorts, right? You have those live events. You can even have live virtual events, so like kickoff, right? And then we have tools, so like I recorded video, like the 3 minutes are you ready video, and then other things, any recorded BOM or anything at all, basically like product videos and stuff that gives more information, right? So yes, being able to know the best ones to use and how to you transition between both, that's what we're going to be learning. So thank you so much for joining. The comments whenever you're seeing this, and just engage as much as possible. Drop the comments and let's know. All right, so the first thing, and I'm sure if you've been doing this for, and if you've been paying attention to all we've been doing, a very key thing that we've learned is that yes, you can expose people in different ways, right? Have different kind of conversation, but then there are some are more effective than others, right? And I'm sure you agree to this. So let me just ask it. Thank you so much for joining. Let me just ask this question so that you can actually drop your answer in the comments. So between me meeting up with a prospect face to face and talking, maybe having some 5-10 minutes to talk about my business or a product, between that and between sending a WhatsApp message or an SMS, which do you think is more effective? Which do you think is more effective? A, being talking in person, like face to face. B, being sending a WhatsApp message, sending an SMS. Which do you think is more effective in terms of actually getting them to the end and getting them to be converted as customers or business partners? Whenever you're watching this, please just drop in your answer if it's A or B. All right, well, if you paid attention to everything we've been doing, the conversation that works the most, or the exposure that works the most, is the impression, when you can actually have a conversation, a true back and forth. And it's not just words, there's face, there's emotion, there is body language and all of that, right? So when it comes to exposures, we have the more effective ways of doing it. And live events, right? Having like what I mentioned, going to the office or going to like a hotel or wherever the venue for some company event, right? Some Max event it's usually more effective, right, in terms of actually getting the person converted, as opposed to sharing it. So everything has its place, and depending on the stage you are with people and circumstances, everything has its place. But the physical events, the live events, definitely are more effective. That's just what we've seen time and time again. But then what happens is that the one that is more effective, right, is usually harder, right, to be able to get your prospects to be part of it, get them to attend, right? The difficulty level for something that is really effective in terms of actually getting them to leave their homes and come wherever, right, is higher. So yeah, the higher the difficulty level, basically, in terms of the exposure, the more effective it is. It's easy, even for us, it's easy to just send out a message, right? Just like quickly tap or quick chat, quick intro, then send your tool, send your stuff. You can do it at the comfort of your home. Few seconds, few minutes, boom, you're done. And they can watch it like in their own time, whenever. But then compare that to the kind of feel that happens within a live event. So it has its place, but we know which one is more effective, right? So when it comes to like invitation, this invitation process, to be able to see it, so it's most effective. I will, bearing in mind that it's most effective for a live event, you want to, as much as possible, do that, especially people that you kind of have this rapport with. It may be a bit tricky and maybe too much too soon for like a cold prospect, somebody that you're just trying to get to know. But then yeah, at least for people who are like warm, hot market, all those kind of things, yeah, it's a better format, right? So so you have that in mind, and as much as possible, invite to a live event. So that's a more effective method. However, if you do that and then you meet some resistance from the prospect, as in, oh, they're not able to attend live, maybe say, oh, they have a packed day, we should schedule that day of the event, or the distance, or maybe it's more of like funding and they just don't have that time to invest, just different things. If there's some resistance, you just notice there. Don't say, okay, because they can't attend, then they're not going to share any information. No, this is where you pivot, right, to a tool. Okay, you can't be there for the live. Maybe there's a tool that you can see, right? Then you know how we go through the steps for them for sharing a tool. Oh, I have this. Like, let's say you want to share the very first video, the 3-minute video, the Are You Ready video. What you need to do is, okay, all right, I have this 3-minute video that gives a brief, blah, 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 blah. So if I sent it, can you watch it for sure? You remember that script, right? If you go back to previous days, it's there. And just kind of take them through that process to increase the likelihood that they'll see it, and then before you send it. So you can do this, right? Don't just leave it there. If the person cannot attend a live event, then you should do a tool. Now, if your tool has been watched, right, or even before I go there, there's sometimes too, I mean, we know this, we invite people for time and time again, and they agree, everything seems to be going great. Even on the day we send reminders to them, try and ginger them to really come, and then they no show for whatever reason, right? Now, usually, right, if these are like decent people, reasonable people, even they would feel bad, right, that they didn't show up. But you don't. I mean, like you said, you have to manage your emotions. We're in the business of managing emotions. Don't flare up or feel all disappointed and everything. I mean, it's cool. Reach out, try to be neutral and all, and then offer to share the tool. So if it's something that was recorded, for instance, during the kickoff, right? I mean, we had it on YouTube. So with certain people, I actually shared it with them. Maybe they connected, but they could stay to the end, or they had connection issues, or there was just, I mean, a kind of reason they couldn't show, right? I shared that with them so that they could look at it. So yeah, sometimes the tool is really long. Maybe it's an hour, it's more than that. The kickoff was like almost 3 hours, so maybe the person doesn't need to see all of it, and it may be a lot, like an overload. But you can tell them, you can actually categorically tell them, like, okay, watch the first 10 minutes, or watch the last minutes, or just a portion, right? That is not like too much, so they don't feel overwhelmed or feel like, oh yeah, they have to spend so much time. Just things, so gradual exposures like that. But the point is, at least share it too, right? Don't just leave it at the day, attend the event, and that's that. So we all need to get better at this, because there's so many times we invite people to our stuff and they don't show up, right? So now when the person has watched the tool, right, what you can do is, if the person, I mean, by the time you check back, oh, what did you like best, all this kind of stuff, right? If you're noticing positivity, okay, there are parts of it that they found interesting, they liked, and all of that, right? If you get such positivity, then from there you can now pivot back to an event, pivot back to a live event or a physical event, something that has that is more effective and has a higher conversion rate. So remember, you started with mind to and then be at an event, but for whatever reason you couldn't attend, or it was just too much at that time, you pivoted to a tool. So now that they've seen the tool, at least they've got more information, that exposure, right, and you're getting some positive vibes, pivot back to an event as much as possible, right, as much as possible. And the reason for this is there's this dynamic at physical events. Like if you've been at a max event, you know it's different from just virtual feel, right? The social proof that that environment is going to give, right, your business, I mean, that the product gets, the prospect gets to experience, is like it's not something that you can just get like virtually or just by themselves through a recorded tool. So yeah, it's a different level, and you want them to get to experience that because it will help them make that positive decision to go with your product or be part of your business and all of that. So yes, try as much as possible to do that. So events preferred, right, like that in-person meeting is preferred over a tool. But yeah, the tool has its place. If you need to pivot to a tool, you do so, and then by the time you're exposing them and getting those good vibes, pivot back to an event. So I hope we all follow that. All right, please drop in the comments if it makes sense. Just type in sense. If it makes sense, just type in sense. All right, so another key thing I want to mention is ghosting. What do you do if you are ghosted? Now in this business, this happens like fairly often. I think no matter how professional and how experienced and how you go about your business, yeah, there are still people. I mean, you just go through the numbers long enough and somebody ghosts you. It happens, right? So ghosting is where literally the person just like goes radio silent, like crickets. It's not like you guys fought. It's not like there was something bad that happened, but then the process of your conversation, somehow, some way, the person just becomes unresponsive, right? I mean, sometimes it's hard knowing if you're actually truly being ghosted or something has happened with the person on the other end, right? So yeah, it can be very confusing. It leaves you very confused. So what you can do, and this is key information now, right? What you can do is try out a way of like just step by step trying to approach them, right? Or trying to reach out. So you can use a like step-by-step set of messages. So maybe, okay, you send the tool, right? Or you invited them for the thing. They either agreed or did not to attend, but then just notice, you're trying to communicate and you're not getting anything back. You make your phone calls, nothing. You send your messages, maybe they leave you on read or something, right? So this is what you can do. Now, I mean, you have to manage your emotions really well, like we said. So what you could say is, the first thing is, and this is something I do, I just ask, like, are you okay? Like, is everything fine at your end? I hope you're okay, that kind of thing, right? Because, hey, like we know, life happens to people. Something could have happened, like genuinely. It's not just all about them ghosting you. So you want to be sure the other person is okay, right? Just check in with them. I mean, we're all human beings and each person's welfare is important. So ask that, right? And then let's say you don't get any response. Like after a while, it could be maybe a day has passed or something. They may or may not have read your message. You don't know, right? Then you could say, that maybe just to put them at ease. Sometimes some people, it's just them feeling bad and feeling ashamed that they didn't show up for your thing or whatever. So let them know that you're not upset that they didn't attend the event. Like your friendship is more important than just like the attendance or business as a whole. Like life is beyond that and everything. So just give them something short and like reassuring, right? So that in cases that they felt bad, you can call. And some people really truly feel bad and they just don't know how to come to you. So at least create that environment that helps that, right? And then, I mean, sometimes could it possibly be that you did something that they found a bit offensive, whatnot? So you could just say, like I'm just giving options. It depends on what it is. So you can send one message, maybe give it some time, send another one, that kind of thing. You could say, yes, you're sorry if they got offended by something you did and all. Like, I mean, basically just apologizing, right? Just in case there was anything that kind of vibe or something you did wrong, that you can say. And then also, some people, it's that, oh, maybe they've watched you think this, oh, okay, these MLM people have come again, and they just feel like maybe because of their bad experience or somebody else's bad experience, or for whatever reason, it's just they don't feel it's for them, and they just feel like they should leave it. They don't want to have that conversation. Maybe you're going to now try to coerce them into, and they just don't want to have that conversation. We know people have ways of thinking based on their experiences, so you can let them know that, hey, that's all. Like, all I wanted was for you to actually get to see this. If it's not for you, that is perfectly fine. You can say no. Like, there's not going to be any issue between us. We'll still be cool, we'll still be friends, we'll talk about other stuff, right? We don't need to just go silent like that. Just make it when we feel like, yeah, they actually have a choice, they have the right to say no, right? Yeah, they must not be part of your business, and that is fine. So you just say things around that, right? And if after all this you're still feeling you're still getting silence, right? You could just say, okay, that, yeah, it's that I do hope you're okay. It would be nice to hear from you, right? I mean, do take care. Like, it gets to a point, and maybe we've had this experience. Sometimes you reach out, and you've tried to do all these right steps, but then you're not really getting any positive response. It's okay. It's okay. Just kind of like back off. Maybe later on the person will reach you, or you can just connect and then just talk about other stuff. Don't even bring it back to like the business, right? So yeah, don't wreck relationships like that. People behave differently. So yeah, that's basically it on that. So hope you understand now how to go about pivoting from a live event to a tool and back and all of that. Right, so the challenge for day 44 is reaching out to your previous exposures and pivoting, right? We had this assignment, and I really do hope a lot of us did that, hosting your own Zoom event, actually have your prospects having like a really lovely epic Zoom event, right? I hope we've done that. I hope you got your guests on. I hope you got good results, right? Now, for these people who probably, maybe you invited some, they didn't show up, or you've sent them a tour before, maybe they haven't seen, or you invited them for like a physical event, they didn't show up, right? Now that you have this structure, now that you know how to pivot from an in-person event to a tool, or from a tool to an in-person event, right? Reach out to these people, right? The fact that they did not attend your physical event doesn't mean they can't see a tool, right? Or the fact that they've seen a tool doesn't mean they can't eventually be part of an in-person event. So reach out to these people, go back to these people, and pivot where you need to, depending on the situation. If they ghost you, or if they have ghosted you, just use this format. Yeah, instead of just leaving it like that. At least for your own part, do the professional thing, right, for that relationship, and see where it leads. So I hope you have a lot of positive results. Thank you so much for joining in, Wapmaster. I see you, everybody on the call. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's go on and have some good results. All right, thank you.